The photograph arrived on a Tuesday. I found it in my mailbox between a grocery store flyer and a bill from the electric company. A plain white envelope. No return address. Just my name written in handwriting I didn't recognize. My name is Margaret Hayes. I'm 72 years old and I've lived alone in this house for 6 years now, ever since my husband Robert passed. People tell me I'm sharper than most women half my age. I do the crossword every morning. I remember birthdays. I can still drive at night without trouble. But I didn't remember anyone who would send me a photograph. I carried the envelope inside and set it on the kitchen table. Made myself a cup of tea first. That's what Robert always said. Don't rush into things, Maggie. Take your time. Think. The envelope wasn't sealed very well. The flap lifted easily under my finger. Inside was a single photograph. Old judging by the quality. The colors had that faded look pictures get after decades in a drawer somewhere. It showed a little girl. Maybe 4 or 5 years old. She wore a yellow sundress with white flowers on it. Her dark hair was pulled back in 2 pigtails. She sat on a porch swing smiling at the camera. Behind her I could see part of a house. White siding. A blue door. I turned the photo over. On the back someone had written in pencil. Do you remember me? My hand started shaking. I set the photo down and stared at it. The little girl's face. Something about her eyes. The way she smiled with just one side of her mouth higher than the other. I knew that face. The tea went cold while I sat there. The afternoon light moved across the kitchen floor. I couldn't stop looking at that photograph. Because I did remember her. 37 years ago. The summer of 1988. I'd been 35 then. Robert and I had tried for years to have children. Every pregnancy ended the same way. 5 miscarriages in 7 years. The doctors said we should stop trying. That it was too hard on my body. Too hard on my heart. Robert suggested adoption. But the waiting lists were so long. Years they told us. Maybe longer. Then one Saturday morning in June, a woman came to our door. Young, maybe 20. Thin. Tired looking. She had a little girl with her. Dark hair and pigtails. Wearing a yellow sundress with white flowers. I'm sorry to bother you, the woman said. Her voice shook. But I saw your husband at the hardware store last week. He was so kind when I couldn't find what I needed. He helped me for 20 minutes even though he was shopping himself. That sounds like Robert, I said. I need help, she continued. Real help. I'm not in a good situation. And my daughter. She looked down at the little girl. She deserves better than what I can give her right now. The little girl stared up at me with huge brown eyes. What are you asking? I said, though I already knew. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear my own voice. Just for a few weeks, the woman said quickly. Maybe a month. Just until I can get on my feet. Find a better job. A safer place to live. I don't have family here. I don't know anyone else I can trust. Robert came to the door then. He looked at the woman, at the little girl, at me. Come inside, he said. We talked for hours. The woman's name was Christine. She was running from the girl's father. An abusive man. Dangerous. She needed time to disappear properly. To start over somewhere he couldn't find them. 1 month, Christine said. I promise. I'll come back for her. The little girl's name was Emma. She was 4.5 years old. She loved strawberries and hated loud noises. She slept with a stuffed rabbit that had one ear missing. Christine left the next morning. Before she went, I took a photograph. Emma on our porch swing, smiling that crooked little smile. That was the last time I ever saw Christine. 1 month became 2. 2 became 6. We called the number she'd given us. Disconnected. We tried to find her. Nothing. After a year we stopped looking. Now, 37 years later, someone had sent me that photograph. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello, Margaret, a woman's voice said. I think it's time we talked about what really happened to Emma. I almost dropped the phone. Who is this? My voice came out as a whisper. Someone who knows the truth. The woman's voice was calm, steady. Someone who's been watching you for a very long time. My kitchen suddenly felt too small, too warm. I looked at the windows. The curtains were open. Could someone see me right now? What do you want? I asked. I want you to remember. Really remember. Not the story you told yourself. Not the version that lets you sleep at night. The truth. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. A pause. Emma didn't just disappear, Margaret. You know exactly what happened to her. The phone went dead. I sat there staring at the photograph. Emma's smile. Those brown eyes. The yellow sundress. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. After Christine never came back, Robert and I had made a decision. We couldn't officially adopt Emma without Christine's consent. We couldn't report her as abandoned without risking the child welfare system taking her away. So we did something else. We moved. 3 states away. To this house. This town where nobody knew us. Where nobody would ask questions about the little girl who suddenly appeared in our lives. We enrolled her in school. Told everyone she was our daughter. Changed her name to Emily. Emily Hayes. Robert got new jobs. New friends. A new life. And Emily, never questioned it. She was so young. Eventually she forgot Christine entirely. Forgot the yellow sundress. Forgot the woman who'd left her on our porch. She became ours. But now the phone rang again. Same unknown number. Don't hang up, the woman said immediately. What do you want from me? I told you. The truth. Where is Emma now, Margaret? I closed my eyes. She's gone. Gone where? She died. 23 years ago. She was 14. Silence on the other end. Then? How? The memories came flooding back. Emily at 14. Beautiful. Smart. So much like Robert with her quiet thoughtfulness. We'd been so careful. So protective. But we couldn't protect her from everything. There was an accident, I said. She was riding her bike home from a friend's house. A car ran a stop sign. The driver was drunk. She died at the hospital 3 hours later. I'm sorry, the woman said. And she actually sounded sorry. That must have been terrible. It destroyed us. Robert never recovered. He had his first heart attack 2 years later. The second one killed him 6 years ago. And you've been alone ever since. Yes. Living in the house you moved to. The house where you raised a stolen child. My breath caught. She wasn't stolen. Her mother abandoned her. We saved her. We gave her a good life. Did Christine abandon her? Or did you just decide she had? She never came back. We waited. We tried to find her. Did you, though? The woman's voice got harder. Or did you see an opportunity? A chance to finally have the daughter you'd always wanted? Did you really try to find Christine? Or did you just pack up and run before she could come back? That's not what happened. Isn't it? I stood up. Walked to the window. Looked out at my quiet street. Mrs. Chun watering her garden next door. The mailman making his rounds. Everything normal. Everything safe. Who are you? I asked again. Someone who knows what you did. Someone who has proof. Proof of what? We raised Emma. We loved her. Yes, we moved. Yes, we changed her name. But we gave her a home. A family. We didn't abuse her. We didn't hurt her. We protected her. From her own mother. From a mother who left her with strangers and never came back. Maybe she couldn't come back, the woman said. Maybe something prevented her. Did you ever think about that? My heart hammered against my ribs. What are you saying? I'm saying that Christine tried to come back. 6 weeks after she left Emma with you. She came to your house. But you were already gone. Moved away without a trace. Without telling anyone where you went. How could you possibly know that? Because I helped her look. For years we looked. Christine never stopped searching for her daughter. She hired private investigators. She called police departments. She posted on every missing persons forum that existed. Nothing. You vanished completely. I gripped the phone tighter. If she wanted Emma so badly, why did she leave her in the first place? Because she was terrified. Because Emma's father had threatened to kill them both. Christine needed time to get somewhere safe. She thought a month with kind strangers was better than watching her daughter die. Tears burned in my eyes. We didn't know. You didn't want to know. Where is Christine now? I asked. Another long pause. She died. 11 years ago. Cancer. She spent her last days in a hospice still looking at Emma's picture, still hoping she'd find her. I sank back into my chair. But Christine had a sister, the woman continued. And that sister never stopped looking either. That sister found out what happened to Emma. Found out she died in a bike accident at 14. Found out she'd been living under a different name, with people who had no legal right to her. My mouth went dry. Are you the sister? Check your mailbox tomorrow, Margaret. There's more coming. The line went dead. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle around me. Every creak sounded like footsteps. Every shadow looked like someone watching. The photograph sat on my nightstand. Emma's face. That innocent smile. I'd taken dozens of pictures of her over the 10 years we had her. They filled albums in my closet. Emily at 5 missing her front teeth. Emily at 7 holding her first report card. Emily at 12 awkward and beautiful in her school dance dress. But this picture was different. This was Emma. Before we changed her. Before we made her ours. Around 3 in the morning, I got up and went to my office. The room Robert used to use for paperwork and bills. I pulled out the filing cabinet and found the folder I hadn't looked at in decades. Inside were the few things Christine had left with Emma. A birth certificate. A social security card. A small stuffed rabbit with one ear missing. Emma Christine Walker. Born April 3, 1983. I held the birth certificate up to the light. Studied Christine's signature at the bottom. The hospital in Denver where Emma was born. The father's name listed as unknown. We'd hidden all of this when we moved. Bought Emily a new birth certificate on the black market. New social security number. Created a whole new identity for a 4-year-old child who didn't understand what was happening. At the time it felt necessary. Protective. We told ourselves we were saving her. Giving her a stable life. A real family. But sitting there at 3 in the morning, looking at documents we'd erased, I wondered if the woman on the phone was right. Had we stolen her? Had we taken advantage of a desperate mother's temporary solution? When dawn finally came, I was already dressed and waiting by the front door. The mailman arrived at 9:15. I watched him through the window. Saw him put something in my mailbox. A large manila envelope this time. I waited until he drove away before I went outside. Mrs. Chun called out from her garden. "Morning, Margaret. You're up early." "Couldn't sleep," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Everything okay?" "Fine. Just fine." I grabbed the envelope and hurried back inside. Locked the door. Drew the curtains. My hand shook as I opened it. Inside were copies of documents. Police reports. Missing persons filings. Private investigator notes. All dated from 1988 onwards. The first was a missing child report filed by Christine Walker on July 15, 1988. 6 weeks after she'd left Emma with us. "I left my daughter with a couple named Robert and Margaret Hayes at 447 Maple Street," Christine's statement read. "I was supposed to pick her up after 1 month. When I returned, the house was empty. The neighbors said the Hayes moved away suddenly. No forwarding address. No one knows where they went. Please help me find my daughter." The next document was from a private investigator Christine hired in 1989. His notes detailed attempts to track us down. Credit card records. Employment history. Nothing after we moved. We'd been so careful. There were letters too. Dozens of them. Christine writing to police departments, social services, anyone who might help. Her handwriting got shakier in later letters. More desperate. One from 1995. "It's been 7 years since I've seen my Emma. She'd be 11 now. I dream about her every night. Please, if anyone has information, I'm begging you. I just want to know she's safe." Another from 2001. "I'm sick now. The doctors say I don't have long. I just want to see my daughter one more time. To tell her I never stopped looking. That I never stopped loving her. That leaving her was the biggest mistake of my life." Tears blurred my vision. I wiped them away and kept reading. The last document was a death certificate. Christine Marie Walker. Died October 8, 2014. Age 46. Cause of death. Pancreatic cancer. Attached to it was a photograph. Christine in a hospital bed. Thin. Bald from chemotherapy. but smiling. And next to her bed, taped to the wall, was the photograph I'd taken. Emma on our porch swing. She'd kept it all those years. My phone rang. "Did you get the envelope?" the woman asked. "Yes. Do you understand now? What you took from her?" I couldn't speak. My throat had closed up. Christine spent 18 years searching for Emma. She never gave up. Even when she was dying, she kept hoping. And you know what the worst part is? What? I whispered. Emma died just 3 years before Christine. If you had just stayed where you were. If you had just let Christine find her daughter. They could have had 15 more years together. Christine could have watched her daughter grow up. Emma could have known her real mother. But you took that from them. You took everything. I didn't know, I said. We thought she'd abandoned Emma. We thought we were doing the right thing. You didn't think. You wanted. And you took what you wanted without considering the consequences. What do you want from me? I asked again. Christine is dead. Emma is dead. Robert is dead. Everyone involved is gone. What's the point of this? The point, the woman said, is that you need to face what you did. You spent 23 years playing mother to a stolen child. You got to watch her grow up. You got to have the family you always wanted. Christine got nothing. She died alone, heartbroken, still searching. I loved Emily, I said. I loved her like she was my own daughter. She wasn't your daughter. She was Christine's daughter. And Christine died without ever holding her again. Silence hung between us. There's more coming, the woman finally said. More you need to see. More you need to understand about what happened after you took Emma. Please, I said. Please just tell me who you are. Tomorrow, she said. Check your mailbox tomorrow. She hung up. I spent the day going through old photo albums. Emily at 5 years old, her first day of kindergarten. She'd been so nervous that morning, clinging to my hand. I'd walked her to her classroom and watched her find a seat near the window. When she turned and waved at me, my heart had swelled with such fierce love I'd almost cried right there in the hallway. Emily at 8 Halloween. She dressed as a witch, complete with a crooked black hat and green face paint. Robert had taken her trick-or-treating while I handed out candy. She'd come home with a pillowcase full of sweets and dumped it all on the living room floor, sorting everything by type. Emily at 13 Christmas morning. The last Christmas before the accident. She'd gotten a new bike. A beautiful blue one she'd been asking for all year. She'd hugged us both and said we were the best parents in the world. 3 months later, that bike would be mangled on the side of Highway 52. And Emily would be gone. I closed the album and pressed my hands against my eyes. All these memories. All these moments. Real and precious and mine. But they'd never really been mine, had they? That night I called my sister Patricia. She lived in Florida now, retired with her husband Tom. She was the only family I had left. Maggie, she said when she answered. This is a surprise. You never call this late. I need to tell you something, I said. Something about Emily. A pause. Patricia had loved Emily like her own niece. She'd been devastated when we lost her. What about Emily? She wasn't ours. What do you mean? So I told her everything. About Christine showing up at our door. About taking Emma for what was supposed to be 1 month. About moving away when Christine never came back. About changing Emma's name and raising her as our own. Patricia didn't say anything for a long time. Pat, I said finally. Are you still there? I'm here. Her voice sounded strange. Distant. I don't know what to say. Say you understand. Say you know we were trying to do the right thing. Were you though? Maggie, you kidnapped that child. We didn't kidnap her. Her mother left her with us. Temporarily. And then you disappeared with her. Patricia's voice got sharper. My God, Maggie. All these years I thought Emily was adopted. You told me you'd adopted her. We couldn't legally adopt her without Christine's consent. So instead you just stole her? Changed her identity? Erased her entire past. We gave her a good life, I said, desperate for someone to understand. We loved her. We kept her safe. We were good parents. You weren't her parents. You were her kidnappers. The word hit like a slap. How can you say that? You knew Emily. You saw how happy she was. I saw a child who'd been taken from her mother. A child who didn't even know her real name. A child whose mother spent 18 years searching for her. Patricia's voice cracked. Does anyone else know about this? Someone sent me photographs. Documents. They've been calling me. I think it's Christine's sister. What does she want? I don't know yet. She keeps saying there's more I need to understand. More that's coming. Patricia was quiet again. Then, maybe you should talk to a lawyer. A lawyer? Why? Because what you did was illegal, Maggie. Kidnapping. Identity fraud. Even if Emily died years ago, there might still be consequences. And if this woman goes to the police. Emily's been gone for 23 years. Robert's been gone for 6. What could they do to me now? I don't know. But you need to protect yourself. After we hung up, I sat in the dark living room. The same living room where Emily used to do her homework at the coffee table. Where she'd watch TV curled up on the couch. Where she'd painted her nails bright purple one afternoon and spilled polish on the carpet. The stain was still there, faded but visible if you knew where to look. I'd never gotten it professionally cleaned. I wanted to keep that small piece of her. Around midnight, my phone buzzed with a text message. Unknown number. Go to your front porch. My blood went cold. I stood slowly and walked to the door. Through the peephole I could see a package on the welcome mat. A small box wrapped in brown paper. I opened the door carefully and looked around. The street was empty. No cars. No people. Just the yellow glow of streetlights and the distant sound of a dog barking. I grabbed the box and hurried back inside. Locked the door. Put the chain on. The box was light. Almost empty feeling. I set it on the kitchen table and stared at it for a full minute before opening it. Inside was a stuffed rabbit. Old and worn. One ear missing. Emma's rabbit. The one Christine had left with her. The one we'd packed away when we moved. But this rabbit wasn't in my house. I'd thrown it away years ago when we were cleaning out the basement. Emily had been too old for stuffed animals by then. I'd asked if she wanted to keep it and she'd said no. She didn't remember where it came from anyway. So I'd thrown it in the trash. How did this woman have it? My phone rang. Do you recognize it? The woman asked. How did you get this? I've had it for a long time. Since before Emily died, actually. My heart stopped. What do you mean? I mean I've been watching your family for years, Margaret. Long before Christine died. Long before Emily's accident. That's impossible. Is it? I knew where you lived. I knew Emily's school schedule. I knew her route home. I knew everything about your stolen life. Something in her tone made my skin crawl. What are you saying? I'm saying accidents aren't always accidents. The room started spinning. No, that's not possible. A drunk driver hit Emily. The police investigated. He went to prison. He did. And he was drunk. That part's true. A pause. But Margaret, who do you think gave him the bottle? Who do you think told him exactly what time a 14-year-old girl would be riding her bike down Highway 52? Who do you think made sure he was sitting in his car at exactly the right moment? I couldn't breathe. You're lying. Am I? Think about it. What are the odds that a drunk driver would run a stop sign at the exact moment Emily was crossing? On a road she rarely used? At a time she was rarely out? She was coming home from a friend's house. A friend who lived in the opposite direction. But that day, Emily got a phone call. Someone claiming to be you. Asking her to stop at the store on Highway 52 on her way home. To pick up milk. Do you remember making that call? No, I whispered. I never called her. I know. I did. The phone slipped from my hand and clattered onto the table. I stared at it lying there, the woman's voice still coming through the speaker, tiny and distant. Margaret? Are you still there? I couldn't move. Couldn't think. My brain kept trying to process what she just said, but it wouldn't fit. It couldn't be real. Emily's death. The drunk driver. The accident that destroyed our lives. Not an accident. Murder. I picked up the phone with shaking hands. You're insane. You're making this up. Am I? Then how do I know that Emily stopped at Henderson's Market that day? How do I know she bought a gallon of milk and a pack of gum? How do I know she put the milk in her bike basket and started riding down Highway 52 at exactly 4:17 in the afternoon? The police reports. You could have read the police reports. The police reports don't mention the phone call. Emily never told anyone about it because she died 30 minutes later. The only people who knew about that call were Emily and me. My legs gave out. I sank into the kitchen chair. Why? Why would you kill an innocent child? Because Christine asked me to get justice. Because you stole her daughter and she wanted her back. I tried to find you for years. I hired investigators. I searched databases. I spent every penny I had tracking you down. And when I finally found you, her voice turned cold. It was too late. Emma had become Emily. She didn't even remember her mother. You'd erased Christine from her daughter's mind completely. So you killed her? You murdered a 14-year-old girl. I gave Christine what she wanted. If she couldn't have her daughter, then neither could you. An eye for an eye. Bile rose in my throat. Christine would never have wanted that. No mother would want her child dead. You don't know what Christine wanted. You never knew her. You never cared about her. All you cared about was taking what you wanted. The woman's voice shook with rage. Do you know what it did to Christine when I told her I'd found Emma? She was so happy. She cried. She started planning what she'd say when they reunited. How she'd apologize. How she'd explain why she had to leave. She bought Emma a present. A necklace with both their birthstones. I closed my eyes. Tears ran down my face. And then I had to tell her that Emma didn't remember her. That Emma thought you were her mother. That you'd stolen her entire identity. The woman's breathing got heavier. Christine broke. Something inside her just shattered. She begged me to bring Emma back to her. To make you pay for what you'd done. So I promised I would. By killing her daughter? That's what Christine wanted. Christine wanted justice. She wanted you to feel the pain she felt. Losing a child. Never getting to say goodbye. Living with that empty space in your heart forever. A bitter laugh. I gave her that. I gave her peace. You gave her nothing. I shouted. You killed the one person she loved most in the world. How is that justice? It evened the scales. You took Christine's daughter. I took yours. She was never mine. You just said that yourself. She was Christine's daughter. Exactly. And because of you, Christine died having lost her daughter twice. Once when you stole her. Once when I killed her. That's your fault, Margaret. All of it. Every bit of suffering. Every tear. Every nightmare. That's on you. I couldn't speak. My throat had closed up completely. My whole body shook. But I'm not finished, the woman continued. Because Christine didn't just lose Emma. She lost everything. Her health. Her hope. Her will to live. The cancer might have killed her body, but you killed her spirit years before that. What else could you possibly do to me? Everyone I love is already dead. Oh, Margaret. I'm not going to kill you. That would be too easy. Too quick. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. I'm going to make sure everyone knows what you did. Every neighbor. Every friend. Everyone at your church. The whole town will know that Margaret Hayes kidnapped a child and raised her as her own. That you're the reason Christine Walker died broken-hearted. That you're the reason Emma Walker died at 14. My chest constricted. No. Please. I've already started. I sent letters to the local newspaper. To the police. To the district attorney. They're reviewing everything right now. The missing persons reports. The identity fraud. All of it. The statute of limitations doesn't apply to kidnapping in cases where the victim died. They can still prosecute you, Margaret. And they will. I've made sure of it. I thought about my quiet life. My neighbors. Mrs. Chun with her garden. The couple down the street who always waved. The people at my book club. My church group. All of them would know. All of them would look at me differently. See me differently. Not as Margaret Hayes, widow and retired teacher. As Margaret Hayes, child kidnapper. Child killer in their eyes even if I'd never hurt Emily. There's more coming tomorrow, the woman said. More people need to know the truth. More evidence needs to come out. By the time I'm finished, you won't be able to show your face in this town. You'll spend whatever time you have left alone and ashamed, just like Christine did. Who are you? I asked one more time. Tell me your name. You can call me Sarah. Christine's younger sister. The one who promised to get justice for her. The one who's kept that promise. Sarah, I repeated. Please, please stop this. I'm sorry for what happened to Christine. I'm sorry for all of it. But hurting me won't bring her back. It won't bring Emily back. It won't fix anything. Maybe not, but it will make sure you pay for what you did. And that's enough for me. The line went dead. I sat in my kitchen as the sun came up. Didn't move. Didn't eat. Didn't drink. Just sat there holding the stuffed rabbit with one ear missing. Around 8 in the morning my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw 2 police officers standing on my porch. A man and a woman, both in uniform. Both looking serious. This was it. Sarah had gone to the police. They were here to arrest me. I opened the door slowly. Margaret Hayes? The male officer asked. Yes. I'm Officer Rodriguez. This is Officer Chun. We need to ask you some questions about a missing child case from 1988. May we come in? I stepped aside and let them enter. Let them sit at my kitchen table. Let them open their notebooks and start asking questions. And I told them everything. Every word. Every detail. Every choice Robert and I had made 37 years ago. I told them about Christine showing up at our door. About taking Emma for what was supposed to be temporary. About waiting for Christine to come back. About moving when she didn't. I told them we'd changed Emma's name. Her identity. Her whole life. I told them about raising her as Emily for 10 years. About loving her. About losing her. And I told them about Sarah's phone calls. The photographs. The confession about Emily's death. Officer Rodriguez wrote everything down. Officer Chun watched me with steady, unreadable eyes. When I finished, they were both quiet for a long moment. Miss Hayes, Officer Chun finally said, we need you to come down to the station with us. I nodded. I'd been expecting this. Am I under arrest? Not yet. But we need an official statement. And we need to verify some of this information. I stood up slowly. My joints ached. When had I gotten so old? Can I bring anything with me? Just your ID and phone. I gathered my things. Took one last look around the kitchen Robert had renovated when we first moved here. The kitchen where Emily had eaten breakfast every morning. Where we'd been a family, however false that family had been. As I followed the officers out to their car, I saw Mrs. Chun standing in her garden watching. Her face full of questions. The police station smelled like burnt coffee and disinfectant. Officer Rodriguez led me to a small interview room. Gray walls. Metal table. 2 chairs. A camera mounted in the corner, its red light blinking. Can I get you anything? He asked. Water? Coffee. Water, please. He left and came back with a plastic bottle. Set it in front of me and sat down across the table. Officer Chun joined him, along with a detective I hadn't met yet. I'm Detective Barnes, the woman said. She was maybe 50, with gray-streaked hair pulled back in a tight bun. I'm going to record this conversation. Is that okay with you? Yes. She pressed a button on a recorder. Stated the date, time, and everyone present in the room. Then she looked at me. Miss Hayes, I want to be clear about something. You're not under arrest right now. You're free to leave at any time. You're also free to request an attorney before answering any questions. Do you understand? I understand. Do you want an attorney present? I thought about it. Patricia had said I should talk to a lawyer. But what was the point? I'd already told the officers everything. The truth was out now. No, I don't need a lawyer. I want to tell you what happened. So I did. For the second time that day, I went through the whole story. Detective Barnes asked questions. Clarifying details. Specific dates. Names. And you never tried to contact Christine Walker after you moved? She asked. No. We thought she'd abandoned Emma. We believed we were protecting her. By changing her identity. By erasing her mother from her life. We thought it was the right thing to do at the time. Detective Barnes made notes. Tell me about Sarah Walker. The woman who's been calling you. I explained about the photograph. The phone calls. The documents she'd sent. And finally, the confession about Emily's death. Detective Barnes stopped writing. She told you she orchestrated your daughter's accident? Yes. She said she called Emily pretending to be me. Told her to stop at the store on Highway 52. Then she arranged for a drunk driver to be there at the right time. That's a serious accusation. I know. Do you have proof? Recordings of these phone calls? Text messages? No. She always calls from unknown numbers. And she only sent physical mail to my house. Do you still have the mail she sent? Yes. All of it. The photographs. The documents. The stuffed rabbit. Detective Barnes exchanged glances with Officer Rodriguez. We'll need to collect all of that as evidence. They asked more questions. About Emily's accident. About the drunk driver. About whether I'd suspected anything unusual at the time. No, I said. It seemed like a horrible accident. Random. Tragic. The kind of thing that just happens. And now I don't know what to believe. Sarah sounded so certain. She knew details about that day that she shouldn't have known. Detective Barnes closed her notebook. Miss Hayes, I need to tell you something. We've been reviewing the case files you mentioned. The missing persons reports from 1988. The private investigator notes. All of it. My stomach tightened. And it's all real. Christine Walker did file reports. She did search for her daughter for years. And she did die in 2014. Barnes leaned forward. But Sarah Walker is a different story. What do you mean? Sarah Walker died in 1992. Car accident. She was 23 years old. The room tilted. That's impossible. I've been talking to her. She sent me. You've been talking to someone who claims to be Sarah Walker. But it's not her. Sarah died 33 years ago. I couldn't process this. Then who's been calling me? That's what we're trying to figure out. Barnes pulled out her phone and showed me a photograph. Is this the stuffed rabbit that was delivered to your house? I looked at the screen. The rabbit with one ear missing. Yes. We found something interesting about this rabbit. There's a tracking device sewn into it. Very small. Very sophisticated. Someone has been monitoring its location. Why would they need to track it? They knew it was at my house. Not at your house, Miss Hayes. They've been tracking it for years. Since before Emily died. Barnes swiped to another image. We pulled the data from the device. It shows the rabbit's location history going back 25 years. I stared at the map on her screen. Red dots marking locations. My house. Emily's school. The route she took to her friends' houses. Someone was following Emily, I whispered. For at least 2 years before her death. Whoever planted this device was watching her. Studying her patterns. Learning her routine. My hand started shaking. Sarah said she'd been watching us. She said she knew everything about our lives. Whoever this person is, they're not just angry. They're obsessed. And they've been planning this for decades. Barnes put her phone away. Miss Hayes, I need to ask you something important. In all these phone calls, did this woman ever threaten you directly? Say she was going to hurt you? No. She said she was going to expose me. Ruin my reputation. Make sure everyone knew what I'd done. Did she say anything about coming to see you in person? No. Why? Detective Barnes and Officer Rodriguez exchanged another look. This one more worried. Because, Barnes said slowly, we think this person might escalate. They've already confessed to murder. They've been stalking you. And now that they've revealed themselves, they might decide to finish what they started. Fear crawled up my spine. Finish what? Making you pay. In their mind, you haven't suffered enough yet. You're still alive. Still free. They might decide to change that. You think they're going to try to kill me? I think it's a possibility we need to take seriously. Barnes stood up. I'm going to have officers drive you home and collect that evidence. And then I want you to stay somewhere else for a few days. A hotel. A friend's house. Somewhere this person won't expect. I don't have anywhere to go. What about your sister? Patricia. She lives in Florida. I can't just. Then a hotel. We'll help you find one. But you can't stay in your house right now. It's not safe. An hour later, I was back in my kitchen with 2 different officers. They collected everything Sarah had sent me. The envelope with the photograph. The manila envelope with documents. The box with the rabbit. They photographed my kitchen, my bedroom, every room where I'd received calls or packages. Pack a bag, one of the officers said. Enough clothes for a week. Medications. Anything you need. I went upstairs to my bedroom, pulled my suitcase from the closet. The same suitcase Robert and I had used for vacations, for trips to the beach, for visiting Patricia. Now I was using it to flee my own home. I packed mechanically. Underwear, shirts, pants, my pill bottles from the bathroom, my phone charger. As I zipped the suitcase, I noticed something on my dresser I hadn't seen before. A small envelope. White. Plain. My name written in handwriting I now recognized. The officers were downstairs. I could hear them talking on their radios. I opened the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper. A note written in neat cursive. You can run, Margaret. You can hide. You can tell the police everything. But you can't escape what you did. And you can't escape me. I'm closer than you think. I've always been closer than you think. Sleep well. The paper slipped from my hands. She'd been in my house. While I was at the police station, she'd been here. In my bedroom. Touching my things. Officers. I called out, my voice shaking. They came running up the stairs. I showed them the note. One of them immediately got on his radio. We need a unit to canvass the neighborhood. Suspect may still be in the area. White female, age unknown, considered dangerous. The other officer looked at me. Miss Hayes, we need to leave right now. Grab your bag. We're taking you to a safe location. I picked up my suitcase with trembling hands, followed them down the stairs, out the front door. Mrs. Chun was still in her garden. She stared as two police officers escorted me to their car. I didn't wave, didn't explain. Just got in the back seat and let them drive me away from the home I'd lived in for 31 years. The home where I'd raised a stolen child, where I'd built a life on lies, and where someone was determined to make me pay for it. The hotel room was sterile and cold. Beige walls, generic landscape painting, 2 double beds with scratchy comforters. The kind of place designed to be forgettable. I sat on the edge of the bed closest to the door and stared at my suitcase. Officer Rodriguez had checked the room before leaving me. Looked in the bathroom, the closet, under the beds. Then he'd given me a card with Detective Barnes's direct number. Keep your door locked. Don't open it for anyone except police. Call if you see or hear anything suspicious. That was 4 hours ago. Now it was dark outside and I was alone. The only sound was the heating unit under the window clicking and humming. I tried to watch TV. Tried to read the paperback novel I'd thrown in my suitcase. But I couldn't focus. Couldn't stop thinking about that note on my dresser. I'm closer than you think. Who was she? If Sarah Walker died in 1992, who had been calling me? Who had been watching Emily all those years ago? Who had orchestrated her death and then waited 23 years to reveal it? My phone buzzed. A text message. Unknown number. How's the hotel, Margaret? Room 302. Nice choice. I dropped the phone like it had burned me. She knew where I was. She knew my room number. I scrambled for Detective Barnes's card. Dialed with shaking fingers. Barnes. She knows where I am. She just texted me. She knows I'm in room 302. Stay calm. Lock your door. I'm sending officers right now. Don't leave your room. I hung up and checked the door. Deadbolt locked. Chain on. I pushed the desk chair under the handle for extra security. Then I backed away and stood in the center of the room, my heart pounding. Another text. You look scared. That's good. You should be scared. She could see me. There must be a camera somewhere. I spun around searching. The smoke detector? The TV? Where? A third text. Relax. I'm not watching you now. But I was. Earlier. When you checked in. When you unpacked. When you tried to read that book and couldn't get past the first page. I ran to the window, pulled the curtains open and looked out at the parking lot. Cars. Streetlights. No people. Or were there? Was she out there right now? Watching. I yanked the curtains closed again. My phone rang. I almost didn't answer. But what choice did I have? Hello. You went to the police. Not a question. A statement. Her voice was calm. Almost amused. Yes. Good. I wanted you to. I wanted them to know everything. About Christine. About Emma. About what you did. They know about you too. They know Sarah Walker is dead. They know you're impersonating her. I never said I was Sarah. You assumed that. I just said you could call me Sarah. But you're right. I'm not her. A pause. Though I knew her. Before she died. Who are you? Someone who loved Christine. Someone who watched her suffer for 18 years. Someone who promised her I'd make things right. By killing Emily? By taking from you what you took from Christine. A daughter. A future. Hope. Sirens sounded in the distance, getting closer. The police are coming, I said. I know. I'll be gone before they arrive. I always am. Why are you doing this? Christine is dead. Emily is dead. What's the point? The point is justice, Margaret. Real justice. Not the legal kind that lets you walk free because of technicalities and statutes of limitations. The kind that makes you understand what you took. What you destroyed. The sirens were louder now. Right outside. You said you knew Sarah. Were you her friend? Better than a friend. I was her partner. We were going to get married back when that wasn't legal yet. Back when people like us had to hide. Her voice hardened. And then she died. Car accident. Just like they said. But it wasn't random. Sarah was driving home from meeting with the private investigator Christine hired. Someone ran her off the road. Made it look like an accident. My breath caught. You think Christine's ex-boyfriend killed her? Emma's father. I know he did. He'd been looking for Christine too. And when he found out Sarah was helping search for Emma, he eliminated her. To send a message. Did they catch him? No. He disappeared. Probably dead by now. But it doesn't matter. He took Sarah from me. You took Emma from Christine. Everyone loses someone. Everyone pays. Footsteps in the hallway. Voices. Police. I have to go, she said. But Margaret? This isn't over. Not even close. Tomorrow check your email. You'll understand everything then. She hung up just as someone knocked on my door. Miss Hayes? Police. Detective Barnes sent us. I moved the chair. Unlocked the deadbolt. Opened the door. 2 officers stood there, hands near their weapons. They swept into the room and checked everything. Bathroom. Closet. Under the beds. Room's clear. One of them said into his radio. I showed them the text. They photographed my phone screen. Asked questions. Took notes. We're posting an officer outside your door tonight, one of them said. You'll be safe. But I didn't feel safe. I felt like a target. Like prey being stalked by something patient and ruthless. After they left, I lay in bed fully clothed. Lights on. Eyes open. Listening to every sound. The officer in the hallway shifting in his chair. Footsteps from the room above. The elevator dinging. Around 3 in the morning my phone buzzed with an email notification. Subject line. The whole truth. I opened it. The email had no text. Just an attachment. A video file. My hand shook as I pressed play. The video was grainy old. Shot on a camcorder from the 1990s. The timestamp in the corner read June 14, 1988. My breath stopped. That was the day Christine came to our door. The video showed our old house. The one on Maple Street. The camera was positioned across the street, partially hidden behind a tree. Whoever filmed this had been watching us. I watched a younger version of myself answer the door. Saw Christine standing there with Emma. Saw us talking. Saw Christine hand Emma over. The video jumped forward. Same day later. Christine walking away from our house. Getting into a beat-up sedan. Driving away. Then the video cut to black. Text appeared on screen. Christine left Emma with you for 1 month. She went to a women's shelter 3 states away. Got a job. Saved money. Found a small apartment. She was building a safe life for her daughter. Watch what happened when she came back. The video resumed. New date stamp. July 22, 1988. Christine's car pulled up to our house. She got out looking nervous but hopeful. She'd gained a little weight. Looked healthier. She carried a shopping bag. I watched her walk up to our door. Ring the bell. Wait. No answer. She rang again. Knocked. Peered through the windows. The camera zoomed in on her face. The hope fading. Confusion replacing it. Then fear. Christine went to the neighbor's house. Mrs. Patterson, I remembered. She'd lived there for 40 years. The video had no audio, but I could see Christine gesturing, asking questions. Saw Mrs. Patterson shaking her head, shrugging. Christine walked back to our empty house. Tried the door. It was locked. She sat down on the porch steps and put her face in her hands. The video jumped forward again. Hours later, based on the light, Christine was still there, sitting on our porch, waiting. Eventually she got up, looked through the windows one more time, left something on the doormat, got in her car and drove away. The video paused on an image of Christine's face through her car window. She was crying. Text appeared again. She came back. Exactly when she promised. But you were already gone. You'd moved away 2 weeks earlier. Didn't tell anyone where you went. Erased yourselves completely. Watch what happened next. The video cut to a different date. August 3, 1988. A police station. The camera was positioned in a parking lot, filming through a window. Christine inside talking to an officer, showing him papers, pointing at photographs. The officer looked bored, uninterested. He pushed the papers back toward her, shook his head. Christine's face crumpled. She was pleading now. The officer stood up, gestured toward the door. The conversation was over. Christine left the station, sat in her car in the parking lot, didn't move for 20 minutes. More text. The police wouldn't help. They said she'd voluntarily given you custody, that you hadn't broken any laws, that she should hire a private investigator if she wanted to find you. So she did. The video showed meeting after meeting. Christine with different private investigators. Each one took her money. Each one failed to find us. The dates jumped forward. 1989. 1990. 1991. Christine got thinner in each clip. More desperate. Her hair started going gray. Christine at Sarah's funeral. Standing at the grave, shoulders shaking with sobs. Alone. Christine in what looked like a cheap apartment. Surrounded by missing person flyers with Emma's face. Emma's 4-year-old face, because that was the last photo Christine had. Christine in a hospital bed. Thin. Sick. A nurse adjusting and 4. Christine in hospice. Barely conscious. But on the wall next to her bed, the photograph I'd taken. Emma on our porch swing. The video showed Christine's final moments. Her hand reaching toward that photograph. Her lips moving, forming words I couldn't hear but could guess. Emma. The screen went black. Final text appeared. You say you gave Emma a good life. You say you loved her. But you took everything from Christine. Her daughter. Her hope. Her reason to keep living. And when I took Emily from you, you still had more than Christine ever got. You had 10 years of memories. 10 years of birthdays and Christmases and goodnight kisses. Christine got 6 weeks. You got to watch your daughter grow. Christine died staring at a photograph of a 4-year-old she'd never see again. You got to bury Emily. Christine never even knew where Emma's grave was. So tell me, Margaret, who really suffered more? The video ended. I sat in the dark hotel room, tears streaming down my face. The phone slipped from my hands onto the bed. She was right. Everything she'd said was right. We'd stolen Emma. We'd destroyed Christine's life. And I'd spent 37 years telling myself we were the heroes of this story. The saviors who gave an abandoned child a home. But we weren't heroes. We were thieves. My phone buzzed. Another text. Now you understand. Now you know what you really did. Tomorrow everyone else will know too. Sweet dreams, Margaret. I didn't sleep. Just lay there in the dark, watching that video play over and over in my mind. Christine's face when she came back and we were gone. Christine alone at Sarah's funeral. Christine dying while staring at her daughter's photograph. All because of me. All because Robert and I had decided we deserved Emma more than her own mother did. When morning came, I knew what I had to do. Detective Barnes arrived at the hotel at 8 in the morning. I'd called her an hour earlier. Told her I needed to talk. That I had something important to show her. She sat across from me at the small table by the window. I handed her my phone with the video already queued up. Watch this, I said. She pressed play. I watched her face as she took it all in. Christine returning to find us gone. Christine at the police station. Christine wasting away over the years. When it finished, Barnes set the phone down carefully. Who sent you this? The woman who's been calling me. She filmed all of it. She's been documenting Christine's suffering for decades. This is evidence of stalking. Harassment. We can use this to find her. I don't want you to find her. Barnes looked at me sharply. Excuse me. She's right. About everything. I stole Christine's daughter. I destroyed her life. And I need to face the consequences. Miss Hayes, this woman confessed to orchestrating your daughter's death. She's dangerous. Maybe. But she's also telling the truth. I met Barnes's eyes. I want to hold a press conference. I want to tell everyone what I did. What Robert and I did. I want to confess publicly. That's not a good idea. Anything you say can be used against you in court. I don't care about court. I care about the truth finally coming out. I leaned forward. Christine spent 18 years searching for Emma. She died alone and heartbroken. The least I can do is make sure people know what happened to her. What we did to her. Barnes was quiet for a long moment. Are you sure about this? Yes. She made some calls. By noon, there were reporters gathered in the hotel conference room. Local news stations. A few newspaper journalists. More than I'd expected. I sat at a table with a microphone in front of me. Detective Barnes stood to the side. My hands shook as I unfolded the statement I'd written. My name is Margaret Hayes, I began. 37 years ago, my husband and I committed a terrible crime. We kidnapped a child. The room erupted with whispers. Camera flashes went off. I kept reading. Her name was Emma Christine Walker. She was 4 years old. Her mother, Christine Walker, left her in our care temporarily, while she escaped an abusive relationship. Christine promised to return in 1 month. But we didn't wait. We moved away. We changed Emma's name to Emily Hayes. We raised her as our own daughter for 10 years until she died in a traffic accident at age 14. More flashes. More whispers. Christine Walker spent 18 years searching for her daughter. She hired private investigators. She filed police reports. She never gave up hope. But we had disappeared completely. We'd erased Emma's identity and replaced it with a lie. My voice cracked. I paused to take a breath. Christine died of cancer in 2014, still searching. Still hoping. She died staring at a photograph of the 4-year-old daughter she'd never see again. She never got to know that Emma had grown into a beautiful teenager. She never got to know that Emma died. She spent her last years believing her daughter was out there somewhere. Alive, just out of reach. Tears ran down my face. I didn't wipe them away. I'm making this statement because someone has been showing me the truth about what we did. The pain we caused. The life we destroyed. And they're right. Robert and I told ourselves we were saving Emma from an irresponsible mother. But Christine wasn't irresponsible. She was desperate and scared and doing her best to protect her child. And we stole that child from her. I looked directly at the cameras. To whoever has been contacting me, you wanted me to understand what I did. I do now. You wanted me to face consequences. I'm ready. And to Christine Walker, wherever you are, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry we took your daughter. I'm sorry we stole your chance to be a mother. I'm sorry you died alone and heartbroken. You deserved better. Emma deserved better. I hope someday you can both forgive me. I folded the paper and set it down. The reporters shouted questions all at once. I ignored them. Stood up and walked out of the room with Detective Barnes following. In the hallway, she grabbed my arm. That was brave, she said quietly. No. It was overdue. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Thank you for telling the truth. But it's not enough. Check the news tonight. You'll see what real consequences look like. I showed the message to Barnes. Her face went pale. We need to find this woman. Now. Before she does something we can't undo. But I had a feeling we were already too late. Whatever she had planned was already in motion. The news broke at 6 o'clock that evening. I was back in my hotel room with 2 officers stationed outside when Detective Barnes called. Turn on Channel 7, she said. Now. I grabbed the remote and found the station. A news anchor sat at her desk looking grave. Breaking news tonight. We've obtained exclusive documents that reveal a decades-old kidnapping case with a shocking twist. Margaret Hayes, who confessed earlier today to taking a child named Emma Walker in 1988, may not be the only person responsible for the tragedy that followed. The screen cut to images, police reports, investigation files, photos I'd never seen before. Our investigation has uncovered evidence suggesting that Emma Walker, who died in 1996 under the name Emily Hayes, was the victim of a carefully planned murder. And the person responsible may have been closer to the case than anyone realized. My heart stopped. The anchor continued. We've learned that a woman named Diane Porter, who worked as a victim advocate at the same women's shelter Christine Walker stayed at in 1988, had access to all of Christine's information. Porter became obsessed with Christine's case and, according to these documents, may have been the one stalking the Hayes family for years. A photograph appeared on screen. A woman in her 60s. Gray hair. Cold eyes. I recognized those eyes. They'd been staring at me from across the street sometimes. At the grocery store. A church. Mrs. Porter. My neighbor 3 houses down. Diane Porter moved to the same street as Margaret Hayes 12 years ago, the anchor said. She lived 3 houses away from the woman she blamed for Christine Walker's suffering. And according to evidence collected by police today, she may have been responsible for Emily Hayes' death in 1996. The screen showed police removing boxes from a house. Mrs. Porter's house. Inside Porter's home, investigators found detailed journals documenting her surveillance of the Hayes family, maps of Emily Hayes' daily routes, and most damning, communications with the drunk driver who killed Emily, a man named David Chan, who died in prison in 2003. Detective Barnes appeared on screen, standing in front of Mrs. Porter's house. We believe Diane Porter orchestrated Emily Hayes' death as revenge for what she viewed as Margaret Hayes' crime against Christine Walker. She saw herself as Christine's protector and advocate. When Christine died, Porter's obsession intensified. She's been planning this exposure for years. The anchor came back on screen. Police are currently searching for Diane Porter, who has not been seen since yesterday. If you have any information about her whereabouts, please contact authorities immediately. I sat frozen, staring at the screen. Mrs. Porter, the kind woman who'd brought me casserole when Robert died, who'd helped me plant flowers last spring, who'd lived 3 houses away for 12 years, watching me, hating me, planning. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Surprised. Mrs. Porter's voice was calm, almost cheerful. You killed Emily. I gave Christine justice, just like I promised her I would. Christine never asked you to murder her daughter. Christine was too kind to ask, but I knew what she needed. Peace. Closure. The knowledge that you suffered too. A pause. I stayed close to you all these years, Margaret. Watched you grieve. Watched you grow old and alone. And it still wasn't enough. You still had your memories. Your precious 10 years with Emily. Christine had nothing. Where are you? Somewhere safe. Somewhere they'll never find me. She laughed softly. But my work is done. Everyone knows the truth now. About what you did. About what I did. About Christine's suffering. That's all that matters. You're going to prison. Maybe. Or maybe I'll disappear like you did. Start over somewhere new. Change my name like you changed Emma's. Her voice hardened. The difference is, I'll be able to live with myself. The line went dead. Detective Barnes called 2 minutes later. We found her car abandoned near the state border. We've got roadblocks up. We'll find her. But I knew they wouldn't. Mrs. Porter had been planning this for decades. She'd thought of everything. 3 months later, she still hasn't been found. The district attorney decided not to press charges against me. Too much time had passed. Too many people were dead. And in a strange way, I'd already been punished. My face was all over the news. Everyone knew what I'd done. My neighbors stopped talking to me. My church asked me not to come back. Patricia hasn't called since the press conference. I'm alone now. Truly alone. Sometimes I think that's what Mrs. Porter wanted all along. Not my death. My isolation. The same loneliness Christine felt. I still live in that hotel. Can't bring myself to go home. And every night before I sleep, I look at the photograph of Emma on the porch swing. That little girl with the crooked smile who became Emily. Who I loved. Who I lost. Who was never really mine. I whisper the same thing. I'm sorry, Christine. I'm so sorry.